Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Last night, April 3rd, 2016, the beginning of the Simpsons cartoon began with this writing on the chalkboard: If Villanova doesn't win, we lose everything. And what that's in reference to is the college basketball championship today, University of North Carolina versus Villanova. It tips off in about 2 hours, April 4th, 2016. So anyhow, in this video, what we're going to talk about is predictive programming in The Simpsons, and also the esoteric knowledge of numerology and gematria. What I'm going to show is how mainstream shows, news networks, they code numbers before their viewers' eyes that foreshadow events to come, that are planned but will be presented to the masses as being something other than staged. And this applies to the world of pro sports as well as major collegiate sports, such as the Division I basketball tournament. So on the screen, an old shot from an old episode of The Simpsons, some foreshadowing for September 11th in the World Trade Centers. This episode debuted years before September 11th. I've done work on Simpsons predictive programming countless times on this video channel. So here we're going to talk about it for tonight's basketball game. For a little taste of gematria, notice how this phrase is emphasized. The Simpsons. When the media does this, there's often gematria in those words that's relevant. Gematria is the practice of decoding words and pairing up numbers with similar meaning that have relevance to each other. In this case, this might be a hint at revelation. Villanova, the team that's written about, they are based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the name Philadelphia comes from the final book of the Bible, Revelation. Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible in most Bibles, including the King James Version of the Bible. Villanova's opponent, North Carolina, just advanced over Syracuse. Syracuse, they defeated, having 66 points. Again, Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. I've done videos from more than a year ago talking about the major revelation connections to the city of Philadelphia and New York. These cities having major revelation connections. There are other cities, but no cities have as many revelation connections as Philadelphia and New York, which are intertwined in this basketball tournament at this moment. Just yesterday, there was a train wreck, a train traveling from New York to Georgia, supposedly, that wrecked near Philadelphia. And if you missed my work before the tournament began, I predicted that North Carolina would win the tournament. And I said the Kansas train wreck has to do with what's going to happen in the tournament, and it's connected to the May 12th Philadelphia train wreck of last spring. Now, lo and behold, the day before the championship game, another Philadelphia train wreck. Philadelphia from Revelation. This article hinting at the revelation numbers. Tonight's game is also an NRG stadium, a football stadium. It's interesting that it's football. Carolina's lost in 2 football championships in the last year, the NFL and college. Now tonight's basketball championship in a football stadium. NRG in gematria equals 39. Revelation is based on the 39 books of the Old Testament. So we're going to talk about what's interesting about this phrase. If Villanova doesn't win, we lose everything. And if you've never read Revelation, it's about the destruction of the earth. So in a way, this headline, it foreshadows something nasty. We lose everything. What does that mean? That means if North Carolina wins, we lose everything? What creeps me out is if you go to the very beginning of this blog, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com, and you just close up these windows and go to my first post in 2013, it's about the next 9/11, and however it's foreshadowed, it will come through the Carolinas. And some of my earliest blog posts when I started talk about the Carolina Panthers, the Tar Heels, what's being foreshadowed in their games, blackout games. I was talking about this in October 2013. I was saying, I don't know when it's going to come, but I said these will be the signs that something is up in this country. And I think this headline about if Villanova doesn't win, we lose everything in regards to a North Carolina sports team, when the powers that be are lining up news, history, sports, and they've been doing it this way for so long. I think this might be more foreshadowing in the puzzle I've been decoding for as long as I made that blog post. So in total, the full phrase in gematria, it doesn't stand out so much. The 179 stands out. If you just look at the 79 part, the word champion equals 79. Tonight's game starts at 6:16 Pacific Standard Time, or excuse me, 6:19 Pacific Standard Time, 9:19 Eastern. Universal Standard Time, it starts at 1:19 in the morning, which is the 79th minute of the day. Again, champion equals 79. Backhoe in Jewish gematria equals 79. Yesterday's train wreck was caused by a backhoe near Philadelphia, supposedly. So that stands out in the phrase, the 179. And if you break it down line by line, if Villanova doesn't win, 4 words, we lose everything, 3 words, the gematria becomes a little bit more interesting. If Villanova doesn't win equals 93, the name Dean Smith equals 93. He won the college championship in 93 as the head coach of North Carolina 23 years ago. 23, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played at North Carolina, won the championship in 82 wearing 23. North Carolina beat Syracuse with 83 points, which is the 23rd prime number. And they won the championship 23 years ago with Dean Smith. Dean Smith brought Roy Williams on to University of North Carolina basketball in 1978. The name Coach Roy Williams equals 78. This year is the 78th edition of the men's college basketball tournament. The first was played in the year 39. Again, NRG equals 39. Villanova went to the Final Four that year, lost in the Final Four. This year they advanced. It's their second time in a championship. We'll talk more about it in a minute. So anyway, 93 connects to Dean Smith, North Carolina. That stands out. We Lose Everything has gematria of 86. Another special number, symbol, triangle, pyramid. All those words equal 86. Republic, citizen equal 86. Think about the date of the Hiroshima bombing. If you've seen The Dark Knight Rises in the football game where the stadium explodes and they got Hines Ward on the field wearing number 86 as he did for the Steelers. Think about it, a bombing, 86. Hines Ward finished his NFL career with 86 touchdowns. We Lose Everything also has gematria of 212. This is an important number to the royal family, and the Carolinas are named, the Carolinas are named after the royal family of old. Think about how the Kansas City Royals won the World Series. I did a video on the synchronicities with the World Series and the royal family and the number 212. So 212 connects back to the royal families, which also seems to favor Carolina in my research. The Simpsons has a history of predicting major sports wrong. In this episode of The Simpsons, he bets that the Seahawks will defeat the Broncos. And the Broncos win in the game 19-14, a sum of 33 points. 33 stands out in regards to the Simpsons. Simpson equals 33 in gematria. That score, 19 plus 14, 33 points. The Super Bowl between the Broncos and the Seahawks was the first Super Bowl ever played on the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd. Remember, Philip Seymour Hoffman was found dead that morning on the 4th floor of an apartment with 44 bags of heroin. We'll be talking more about 44. But anyway, first Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year, and that was the most profitable Super Bowl for Vegas. The majority of the country bet Broncos. They got blown out. Vegas made more money in that Super Bowl than the next 3 most profitable Super Bowls combined. Big media hype for the Broncos. They got crushed. Right now, you could say the media momentum's riding Villanova because they're 44-point win. Also, the Broncos had 19 points in that game. Homer bet wrong. The nation bet wrong. 19 has gematria of 86, just like Broncos. How about that? So anyway, this episode debuted last night, April 3rd, 2016, which is typically the 93rd day of the year. This year, because it's a leap year, it was the 94th, the reflection of 49, the revelation number we started with. Anyhow, this is typically the 93rd day of the year. 4-3-2016 even had 43 numerology. The word champion the small way equals 43, as does Tar Heels. If you saw my work on the Elite Eight, at halftime they had the word champions behind North Carolina with them 43 points at the half over Notre Dame, a Catholic school. They defeated a Catholic school in the Elite Eight. They defeated Syracuse, which has Catholic ties, and now they face Villanova, another Catholic school. Tar Heels also equals 34. Again, they won the championship 34 years ago with Jordan. Now 23 years since Dean Smith last. Also, with regards to 43 in the Carolinas, it reminds me of Civil War. Civil War equals 43. Charleston, where the Civil War began, equals 43. Notice that Charleston also has gematria 52. Just a point I want to make here. Nova equals 52. Pennsylvania equals 152. The word Pope equals 52. The Pope is connected to the train wrecks, which we'll talk about. The over-under for this game began at 152. It's now down to 149.5. We'll talk more about that. One more point on the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln, Civil War president, born on the 43rd day of the year. Obama, connected to Lincoln, coming from the land of Lincoln, Illinois. Remember, the initial train that wrecked in Kansas was on the way to Illinois. Illinois equals 45. Villanova also lost 45 years ago. But anyway, 43. Obama. Obama from the land of Lincoln. Obama's the 44th president, but he's only the 43rd person to be president because Grover Cleveland was 22 and 24. Obama was elected November 4th, 2008, a date with 43 numerology. He gave his acceptance speech at Grant Park, which in gematria equals 43. Think about Obama in the college tournament. He always makes big media headlines for his picks. This year he picked Kansas over North Carolina, Villanova's who advanced over Kansas. In my initial pick, I picked North Carolina over Kansas. I missed how Villanova was from Philadelphia. And one more point on 4-3. 4 words in the top line, 3 words in the bottom line. 4-3. The word March also equals 43. The tournament begins in March. March Madness. Here's that ESPN shot at halftime. Championship in the background. North Carolina up 43. They point out in the articles written about last night's Simpsons episode on the Villanova that in 1997 there was an article mentioning Villanova. I noticed that 97 is the reflection of 79 connected to champion. We'll see. The Pope visited the United States in 1979, and again this year, 2016, 27 years later. So there's a connection between 79 and 2016 in that way. That episode debuted September 21st, 97. In numerology, 21 is 2 plus 1 equals 3, which can be written 21/9 or 9/21, 3993. Call it a coincidence. Could be. At Villanova, they have a Simpson Hall. It's the smallest hall left on the campus. It was built in 1939. Interesting. Could be a coincidence also. Now anyway, with Villanova, the Catholic school losing 71 years ago, notice that Catholic equals 71. 71 and 44 are the only 2 numbers when you write them out that sum to 144. And today's championship's on April 4th, which has gematria of 144. Think about it. A lot of 44 connections on the tournament, as there was last year, which I pointed out at this time. Villanova won the championship in 85, the year that they expanded to a 64-team tournament. Basketball equals 85 the big way, and 22 and 31 the small way. On their star player's 22nd birthday, they defeated Kansas. Kansas had the train wreck at the beginning of the tournament. Now a Philadelphia train wreck the day before the championship. Anyway, from 85 to 2016 is 31 years. Villanova advanced over Oklahoma. Oklahoma equals 31. They beat them by 44 points. Today's date numerology sums to 44. March Madness 64. Villanova Wildcats 64. Oklahoma Sooners 64. Kansas Jayhawks 64. Champions in 85. Runners-up in 71. They made the Final Four in 39. The very first year of the tournament where Oregon defeated Ohio State. So, okay, losing 45 years ago. This year, what I recall is Alabama beat Clemson 45-40. Think about that. College football, college basketball, Clemson and Carolina. Holy Bible has gematria 45, connected to Christianity, Catholicism, Villanova Catholic School. Again, the first train wreck this year was on the way to Illinois. Illinois equals 45, where Jordan went on to play his ball. North Carolina, Illinois, Chicago. I point out that East equals 45. I'm just searching for things, throwing some things out here to hopefully jog your mind too. I'm not just presenting to you. I hope to be teaching you and you applying these skills and helping me. That's the goal here. Again, Dean Smith equals 39. Died on that significant date last year. The date the Carolina Panthers played the Super Bowl on this year. All right, so before this video gets too long in the tooth, ESPN has this up right now if you go. Villanova number 3, North Carolina number 11, 211 on the clicker. 211, the number is the 47th prime. 47. One of these special numbers that shows up in a big way. Oregon equals 74, Ohio equals 47. That was the first ever college championship for the men's basketball tournament. The other year when they had the first college football playoff, it was also Oregon and Ohio. First Super Bowl in the year 47. First NBA championship in 47, which was won by the Philadelphia Warriors. In the earlier work I did, I showed some other 47 connections with Roy Williams. In truth, I can't really read too much out of this number 47 for either team. Between the players shown, number 11 corresponds with 47 because 4 plus 7 equals 11. 47 has 11 numerology. As for 311 and 113, numbers we talk about all the time, Masonic signatures. USA equals 311. In reverse, mainstream equals 113. Dishonest equals 113. These basketball games, these sports, they're mainstream and they're dishonest because they're rigged and deceiving the fans. Also, 2 minutes 11 seconds is 131 seconds. Remember how championship equals 131. We'll talk more about that number in North Carolina in just a moment. Again, the start time is 6:19 Pacific, 9:19 Eastern, 1:19 Universal Standard Time. Numbers that are interesting on the game, Nova's record's 34-5 coming in. What this reminds me of is the problem of Euclid, the 47th problem, important to the Masons. It's about triangles. I guess I can just show you this real quick. It's this right here. It's about the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared plus c squared, and the importance of squares with ratios of 3, 4, 5. Imagine if these were building blocks, 3 blocks across each way, 4 blocks across each way, 5 blocks across each way. This ratio works with the Pythagorean theorem. This is an important problem to the Masons. It has to do with engineering, building structures. It's interesting that Villanova comes in with this record. Again, remember, it's the Freemasons running the show, doing things by these numerical codes that have numerical sequence. I noticed that if North Carolina wins and Villanova loses, they'll both be 34-6. We're about to get into some speculation. Some of this might make you think I'm crazy, but I assure you this information comes from last year. This is part of ongoing research. I want to show you what's significant about this number 34-6. Notice 34 wins reminds of 34 years ago. The Tar Heels won in 82, and Tar Heels equals 34. Check this out. Golden Gate Bridge equals 346. There's this picture of Obama from early in his presidency on April 4th, standing in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. I'll show it at the end of the video. Got to remember though. Golden Gate Bridge, 346. Could be the records of both teams after tonight. Why is that significant? Last year I predicted, based on the Germanwings plane crash hoax, that the Duke Blue Devils would win the championship. This is the pilot of that plane crash hoax. They showed him again and again in the media in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. Duke Blue Devils equals 152. Andreas Lubitz equals 152, where he crashed the plane in the Alps. There's a history of Blue Devil hikers. It's crazy how the powers that be rig things. But think about it. Plane wreck, train wreck, syncing up with sports. There's an ongoing pattern of this that I've been documenting. Last year, Duke won, led by Coach K. Coach K is born on the 44th day of the year, February 13th, known as Lupercalia, which has gematria 44. He defeated Wisconsin. Wisconsin has gematria 44. Wisconsin's Star player was Frank Kaminsky, born on April 4th, wearing the number 44. Last year, this 144 thing was going on. The Final Four was on that date last year. Wisconsin Duke is the championship. The Germanwings crash, Truth Seeker, had 144 passengers, the same one blamed on this guy. Here's that number 144 again showing up. Championships being projected by tragedies. This is how the world is being run. This is how the Masons and Zionists do it. It's all about controlling our mind's eye, programming us with sports, making us, sit on our asses, letting the time pass. And then at the other, or, in different hours of the day, being scared with plane crashes and crazy pilots and terrorists. And it's all mostly contrived. Hope I'm communicating clearly. So the over-under, it was at 152. Now it's 149.5. UNC the favorite by 2 points. UNC advanced to 66 points. What's interesting is the only two numbers that I know when you write them out that sum to 149 are 47 and 66. Again, remember Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. Syracuse, Revelation connections to New York. Just lost with 66 points. The word Christian equals 47, I should mention. So do a lot of important words. Authority, obey, judge, gavel. Think about this nation's birthday, 4th day, 7th month. Masonic and Jewish equals 74, 7-4, July 4th. And the Holy Bible, again, the 66th book, Revelation, Christian, Revelation, all these numbers coming together. Last year, the Philadelphia train wreck, again on the 132nd day, Catholic Church in Gematria equals 132. The crash had a lot of connections to the Pope. That's the day that leaves 233 days remaining in the year. The Fibonacci number that follows 144. Fibonacci numbers go like this. Anyhow, the Philadelphia train wreck, it came on a date with 52 numerology. It was connected to the Pope's upcoming visit. I noticed that Nova, the Catholic school, as it's called, has the gematria 52 as well. Train wreck equals Pope Francis equals Golden State. Last year I was doing videos on how the NBA Finals was also connected to college basketball and the train wrecks. Philadelphia Warriors became the Golden State Warriors. Notice Golden State and San Francisco equal 122. Andreas Lubitsch shown in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. What's it all about? And again, with that Simpsons predictive programming, the 9/11 stuff, Twin Towers. Think about this. Twin Towers, Revelation, the Simpsons, they all equal 49. The Twin Towers were approved by Nelson Rockefeller, the 49th governor of New York. Rockefeller equals 110. It was David Rockefeller who proposed the project. The World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall. Again, Rockefeller equals 110. So does the name Osama bin Laden. If you've never seen my work on Osama bin Laden's death, check it out. Very important. So New York, with all of its Revelation codings, the big way New York equals 111, New York equals 39, numbers we're talking about. September 11th was the day that leaves 111 days remaining in the year. Whole lot more numerology in that day, but just think about it. New York 111, countdown, 911 emergency. Look at Revelation in Gematria, 726, 121 also. New York was established July 26, 726, on a date with 121 numerology. Again, Revelation based on the 39 books. Houston, do we have a problem? The game's in NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Dean Smith, who the game might be a major tribute to, died last year on a date with 44 numerology, just like this year's game. From the date Dean Smith died, from the same date the Carolina Panthers lost this year in the Super Bowl, February 7th. A span of 57 days this year. So it's been 1 year and 57 days since Dean Smith died today. Look at this. Roy Williams equals 57, who was brought on at North Carolina by Dean Smith in 78. Coach Roy Williams equals 78. It's the 78th year of the men's tournament. If you write out 57, it equals 131. If you write out championship, it equals 131. If you write out Super Bowl, it equals 131. And, if you've never seen my other work, This year, 57 days after the World Series equals 57. 57 days after the World Series, Dave Henderson died at age 57. The last team he played with was the Royals, who won the World Series. He also played for the Red Sox against the Mets, who the Royals defeated in the World Series. The name Henderson also equals 57. So lots of ritual sacrifice that syncs up with these sports. Let me show you this picture of Obama in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, if I can get it here real quick. If you ever come to my blog, use this top left to search. You can find a lot of stuff quick. Sometimes you have to type things in a few different times. See if I got this here. Here it is. This picture is from April 4th, 2013. Obama in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, the 44th president. What's it all about, you know? Is it all a coincidence? Something to all this symbolism. Notice how Golden Gate in Jewish gematria equals 239. So does Torah, the Jewish holy text. The United States is 239 years old. It is until July 4th. Again, Masonic equals 74. Jewish equals 74. It seems that something big is foreshadowed for the near future. It seems we're very much being taunted. Seems like all of this is part of it. Obama in front of the Golden Gate Bridge on 4/4. The date in history that the first president died in office, the 9th president. The next president to die will be the 9th to do so while in office. The 9th president, the first to die. The next to die in office will be the 9th. Obama, 9 days after the Charleston shooting that killed 9, sang Amazing Grace. If you've never seen my video on that, connects back to all of these numbers. Seems to all be some very sick foreshadowing. The last president assassinated in office was JFK, the 35th president. Catholic equals 35. He's the only Catholic president. Again, we began talking about Catholics in the first game of the season. One of the big upsets, or not first game of the season, first day of the tournament. Gonzaga Catholic school won the game. They had 35 points in the first half. Gonzaga equals 35. Catholic equals 35. Learn these numbers, you'll see what's going on. Anyway, JFK, the 44th term president, died on the first day of Sagittarius. Sagittarius has gematria of 144. His brother Bobby Kennedy would die by the numbers at 1:44 in the morning. 44, 144. Alright, I gotta finish this video up, Truth Seeker. Until next time. For a couple things I forgot to touch on. Again, the game starts at 1:19 Universal Standard Time, a lot like 119, Star of David, All Seeing Eye, symbols of the Masons and Zionists, coded on the start time of the game. This is how they often pick these start times. It's also the 79th minute. The word champion equals 79. Remember, Freemasonry, the Jesuits, the Zionists, the secret societies that operate in high places, they're part of an international order. They are what the New World Order is, what the Illuminati is, and this is how they operate. Yesterday's wreck, the train wreck in Philadelphia, was caused by a backhoe, at least we're told. Backhoe equals 79, tying in with the start time, the word champion. When Villanova lost in 71, they lost to UCLA, the team that has won the most college championships to date. UCLA in gematria equals 37 like Carolina, and I think about how both teams wear Carolina blue, baby blue. Little connection there. Villanova lost 45 years ago. Backhoe in simple English gematria equals 45. Train hits a backhoe just outside of Philadelphia. This kind of stuff is making me lean more towards North Carolina. It was also my initial pick, so I'm still going with my gut. But the way this information lines up, I think this foreshadows the same fate as 45 years ago for Villanova. You know, second place, not so bad. Again, that was in 71, April 4th, 44, all coming back to this 144 number. They just won with 44 points. All right, until next time.